Hello and welcome to our podcast. Today we will be discussing our proposed strategy for the Hamilton Harbor water quality issue. Hamilton Harbor Hamiltonians' go-to place for recreation and appreciation of nature has been threatened through effluent pollution, leading to conditions which are not conducive to these uses. Our team has identified water contamination and excessive water usage on the Woodward Waste Treatment Facility to be the main contributor to Hamilton Harbor's water pollution issue. In this presentation, we outline three main pillars for addressing these challenges, as well as their role in improving water quality in Hamilton Harbor. In the 18th and 19th century, Hamilton Harbor and the surrounding landscape were once an extremely productive ecosystem and a beautiful scenic landscape. But with the industrialization establishing itself in 1910, Hamilton Harbor began to experience an unprecedented amount of water pollution through industrial effluent, which has been being dumped directly into the ecosystem. Decades of uncontrolled point source pollution led to the epitome of pollution, which Hamilton Spectator describes in the 60s as being a cesspool, unfit or unacceptable to human, animal, or most forms of plant life. In the 80s and 90s, there was an environmental grassroots movement towards the creation of the Bay Area Restoration Council, otherwise known as BARC, B-A-R-C, and eventually the Hamilton Harbor Remedial Action Plan in 1992. This outlined the importance of Hamilton Harbor to the local fabric of Hamilton's identity and identified combined sewage overflows, otherwise known as CSO, as being a main concern for water quality. The goal of BARC and City of Hamilton is to achieve pre-industrial levels of water quality within the near future. One of the main issues that Hamilton Harbor is currently facing is pollution from Hamilton's wastewater treatment plant. The City of Hamilton's wastewater is sent to the Woodward Wastewater Treatment Plant, where it is then treated throughout the following processes. Primary treatment involves putting wastewater through filters and tanks to mechanically remove contaminants. Secondary treatment uses biological processes to remove organic matter. Tertiary treatment involves chemically treating the water to removing phosphates and nitrates. In order to reduce the impact that Hamilton's wastewater treatment plant has on Hamilton Harbor, it is essential that Hamiltonians reduce their water usage. Reducing water consumption means less potential for CSO events and less effluents entering the harbor. By encouraging reduction of household water usage, the harbor has the opportunity to be restored to what it used to be. The three pillars to our approach of reduction in household water use that our team will focus on are 1. Education, 2. Incentives and disincentives, and 3. Citizen action.
The first component of the approach will be targeting the public through an assortment of mediums, including social media, YouTube, hosting public engagement sessions, open houses at Woodward Treatment Facility, youth educational programs at elementary schools and high schools, and awareness postering across the city. Currently, BARC runs From Home to Harbor program for educating elementary and high school students about water quality and environmental impact in the Hamilton context. Our team will help to update and further support this program so that all schools in Hamilton will incorporate these resources into their curriculum.
The second component involves the use of incentives to encourage Hamiltonians to enact change within their homes. An example of these types of incentives is offering rebates or subsidizing water-efficient faucets to make household efficiency upgrades more accessible to low-income households. Installation of a single water-efficient faucet can save an average of 700 gallons per year per tap. If 1 in every 10 Hamilton households replaces a faucet in any given year, each of those households will be saving 700 gallons per year. There are 211,595 households in Hamilton. A tenth of this would work out to 21,159 households that will replace a faucet each year. This subsidization would result in almost 15 million gallons saved Hamilton-wide each year. A similar incentive could be offered for water-efficient toilets. Each person uses a whopping 18.8 gallons of water per day while using a traditional toilet, while an individual with a water-efficient toilet uses nearly half of that amount at approximately 9.1 gallons per day. If only a tenth of the city's population, 53,691 people, switch to water-efficient toilets, 190 million gallons of water per year can be saved. In order to implement these two incentives, the City of Hamilton would need to partner with local home improvement retailers citywide to ensure that all retail locations offer this incentive. One other initiative that could be subsidized is rain barrels, which we believe that the city could subsidize by 50%. During the summer months, a rain barrel can help a household save up to 1,300 gallons of water. If we can encourage a minimum of 1 in every 25 households to purchase a subsidized rain barrel, this will result in savings of 11 million gallons saved per summer. Using these three incentive tools, a total of 216 million gallons of water can be saved per year through engaging only a fraction of Hamilton's population. This effective mitigation strategy would see hundreds of millions of gallons of water being diverted from the Woodward Wastewater Treatment Facility, which would alleviate pressure on this infrastructure, thus preventing CSOs from occurring. In order to manage household water consumption, we are also proposing de-incentivization mechanisms, which would increase the price of water per unit within Hamilton. This added cost will encourage residents to become more conservative with their water consumption. In addition, there can be a tax on water that will be placed upon those who are using excess amounts of water. If we increase the cost of water by 10% and assume that households will continue spending the same amount on water after the price increase, then theoretically, Hamilton will use 10% less water than before. Capital generated through this program will be held in two accounts, the first being an investment fund for future water issues. The second account will be used for supporting continued expansion of the Woodward wastewater plant to expand capacity and limit the frequency of CSO events.
Citizen action is very important in our overall approach and involves various behavior changes. Turning off water while brushing your teeth is a simple yet effective way to save up to 200 gallons of water per month per individual, which can lead to up to 2,400 gallons per year per individual. If we assume all residents adopt this practice, 1.2 million gallons of water per year could be saved. Another behavioral change is through laundry practices. Consolidating smaller wash loads will prevent unnecessary water use, thus making the process more efficient. This practice also applies to dishwasher loads. The average washing machine uses 40 gallons of water per load. If we assume every household does an average of 1 load of laundry per day, then 14,600 gallons of water are used per year per household for laundry. If every household can consolidate their loads in half, then we can save half or 7,300 gallons of water per household per year. Since there are 211,595 households in Hamilton, this will result in savings of 1.5 billion gallons citywide per year.
In regards to the feasibility of the proposed solution, we recognize that education can be difficult to implement to all members of the public. However, there is significant potential to reach a large audience with minimal effort, resulting in a high return on investment. Where would we get the funding, you might ask? The funding required to implement this would come from the City of Hamilton's budget. A portion of the budget used for recreation will be allocated towards conservation efforts for Hamilton Harbor as an investment for future recreational uses. There will also be funding from the provincial and federal environmental conservation agencies and the Bay Area Restoration Council through in-kind contribution. Economic savings from this reduce stress on the wastewater treatment facility, preventing maintenance costs, which further free up funding for further beneficial investment. Lastly, with less CSOs, there will be a reduction in the overall cleanup costs. Well, that's all for today's podcast. We hope you have enjoyed our suggestions for Hamilton Harbor remediation strategies that involve reduction of household water uses. In order to enact real change in the city, we must start with the habit change of the city's population.